finally, I'm going to make a video on Path to Confrontation. Path to Confrontation. Well, Path to Confrontation is an event that's going to be run by Confrontation Events and Sam from the Empress Path, and it's a Horus Heresy narrative event, and I could not be more excited. So it's running on the 5th of November. It's full at the moment. Obviously, there may be dropouts. I think a lot of people are quite pumped and committed right now, but you never know. I for one am very excited, and the reason I'm so excited is because it's not a tournament but a narrative event, which really plays into why I love the Horus Heresy, and allows me to build a list that can be so colossally shit but fun for me to play, and hopefully fun to play against, because it's something so different. You know, it's not something you usually see at Heresy events. Normally people talk about the big vehicles being the big hitters. And what I'm talking about is a list that has no tanks and no walkers and no flyers. And so what I'm going to do is basically just take you through that list, sort of not unit by unit per se, but we're going to work our way through it, and hopefully you guys will see what I'm talking about. The first thing to note about the list that I'm taking to Path to Confrontation is that I'm going to be using a Wordbearer specific Rite of War, which will be the Dark Brethren, and I am incredibly excited for that. It doesn't come with a great deal of buffs. It gives my characters preferred enemy against loyalists, which is cool. It gives a special rule which means I pick a troop unit of my own and I roll a d6, and on a 1, 2, 3 everything in my opponent's army has preferred enemy that unit, and on a 4, 5, 6 my unit has preferred enemy everything on my opponent's army. So Chaos Gods are fickle, I guess. I don't know. What a shame. But yep, there's that, and I can take demons as an allied detachment, and they become sworn brothers, which means they can benefit from psychic powers and the like, which is really cool for me. I'm very excited by that, because it does open up a lot of opportunities. There are some things that I'll be able to take and utilise that maybe my opponents cannot. For example, Wordbearers are the only legion that can access demonology, which means I'm taking the only legion that can summon units on the board, for table control, for holding objectives or denying objectives, for screening, anything I want them to do. Hopefully I can summon them, and by taking a demon ally detachment I can reliably summon them without losing a psych or a turn. So that's pretty exciting on some level. Now in my list, which I reliably have written down here, I'm taking 3 HQ choices. Now I have to take 2 anyway, because I'm a word bearer, so I've got to take at least 1 Centurion or Chaplain. Now I am taking a bog standard Centurion, who is going to be armed with Power Weapon, Refractor Field, and Burning Law, Artificer Armour, Melter Bombs? Possibly not Melter Bombs. But his role is literally to fill out the points, and I'll pop him in a tactical squad and hopefully he'll do a little bit of damage. He's got a power axe on the model. My thought process being that I'll be able to utilise him to basically just take out a challenge or something if I've got another important character, or put him with the squad and just have him as an extra method of taking wounds down. Then alongside him I've got my Warlord, Corphoron. Now the reason I'm taking Corphoron is because no one takes him. I love the model for a start. I think it's really cool. His rules suck balls, but that's fine because it's a narrative event. He unlocks Dark Channeling, which is massive for this particular list build, and at the same time, although he's not great in combat, he's got a bit of staying power. He's a level 1 Psyker, who I may roll for Demonology for, because he's got 4 bloody wounds, even though he's toughness 3. And because the damage that you take from psychic powers isn't strength specific, it's not instant death. Which brings me on to actually a thing I missed on the Dark Brethren Rite of War. Every wound that is taken by my opponent's perils gains the instant death special rule. So if they've got a Psyker who perils, dead. So if I'm playing against Thousand Sons Loyalist, which I don't think I will be, but let's say I am, If they try and psychically cast anything, and perils, if they take a wound, the character dies, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's not often that you see a lot of psychic powers in the Horus Heresy anyway, but to have that sort of like around is quite nice. Anyway, back to my characters. Yeah, Corphoron, Warlord, unlocks Dark Channeling. I quite like that. Last on the list is a level 2 Librarian in Cataphractii armor, and the reason I desperately want to get this is because I am going to Warhammer World soon, and I'm going to buy the Cataphractii Librarian, who's sort of summoning a bloodletter, and I'm going to run him as a summoning, a malefic summoning dude, because that is damn cool. It's fluffy. It will really look the part. He's got some scrolls going on, so we're going to have a lot of fun painting that miniature, I think, and gives me something to really get excited about painting before the tournament. And again, I might be able to summon some stuff. I might take him on something else, who knows, but probably will try and summon stuff off of him. So then down to troops choices. It's very simple. I am taking 3 identical troop choices, 3 20-man tactical squads, all with additional close combat weapons, Vexilla, Sergeant with Artificer Armour, Melter Bombs, Power Sword, and they will also be taking the Dark Channeling upgrade that I mentioned. For those of you unfamiliar with Word Bearers, it's 25 points for a unit flat rate, so that's regardless of the size of the unit. I roll the dice. On a 1, 2, 3, they gain Zealot. On a 4 and 5, they gain +1 strength, and on a 6, they turn into demons. Now, accompanying those 3 tactical squads will be 3 apothecaries. Obviously, if I do roll that demon, 2 apothecaries will join 1 squad, and if I roll 3 lots of demons, well, I'm fucked. So that would be interesting. And then lastly, I've got 10 Gal Vorbak, and now that's just a unit of 10. They're pretty disposable. They're beefy killer units. They're going to be taking the brunt of the firepower whilst my other stuff positions into place. They can also benefit from some of the demonology psychic powers like Cursed Earth, which is huge, because if I can get myself a 4-up invuln on the Gal Vorbak, that puts me in a really good place. You know, suddenly they've got themselves a 4-up invuln, which is absolutely mental for a unit like the Gal Vorbak. And then we come down to the last part, which will be the Demon Ally detachment. So I mentioned it already in last week's video, but I will be taking a Demon Prince who's going to be tooled out to kill enemy characters. So something I haven't decided on for the Demon Prince yet is exactly what mark I'm going to give him. So obviously he's got to take a mark. Now, I know that I won't be taking Slaanesh, because I think I've made this apparent in previous videos. I don't like the theme that Slaanesh goes for. In my personal opinion, there is a place in the Heresy and in 40k to some degree for excess, but the way in which they portray excess, it could be better. Like I said, this is all my opinion, but personally they over-sexualise Slaanesh, and I think that is almost unnecessary, but again, just one man's opinion. As for Khorne, if I take Khorne, I cannot access these psychic powers for summoning or anything, really, which is a bit of a shame. So it's very unlikely that I'll be taking Khorne. I mean, I'm on the fence, but I don't think I'm going to be doing it. Now, obviously, that leaves me with Nurgle and Tzeentch, two who aren't particularly keen on each other, shall we say. And the reason I'm struggling between those two is because Tzeentch has his... Okay. Tzeentch has a way you can give him ridiculously good invulnerable saves, re-rolling. So you can give him a 2-up re-rollable pretty quickly. And I'm not keen on taking that to a narrative event. Now, I did talk to Sam beforehand. I said, given the fact that the rest of my list is garbage, is this still too much? Fully aware that it was probably too much. He replied saying, yeah, a 2-up re-rollable is a bit much. We could employ this special rule that says re-rolls are only ever done on a 4+. I said, look, don't go changing the rules because this is a dick move. I won't do it. Which led me to think, well, if I take Tzeentch, a 5-up re-rollable is kind of crappy. I don't know how I feel about that. So I was like, well, I don't really want to take that then. So it left me with only a couple of thoughts on Tzeentch. If I took Tzeentch and I took Demonology, I get +3 leadership, so I shouldn't really fail Perils of the Warp. And that's all well and good, but at the same time, if I take Nurgle, I can still have a Mastery level 3 Demon Prince, who has Shrouded for a 2-up Jinx save, because I'm giving him wings, who has defensive grenades. I think he just offers a bit more. Now, I don't like the Nurgle theme of Pestilence, and I do like Pestilence, that's fine. I don't like the cartoony rot level that you get on a lot of models, so he'll probably just be a snot green Demon Prince with some stuff dripping off of his blade, but that'll be it. That's all I'm interested in. Or his I think I want to go for 2 Talons because they look cooler. And then loadout for him, obviously Demonic Flight, so he can flappy. Mastery level 3 because I want to summon demons, and level 3 is a good place to be for that. And then along with this, it is likely that I'll have 2 rewards, 1 greater and 1 exalted. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm using the old Codex Chaos Demons as it says so in the Horus Heresy books. And in fact, in the Dark Brethren Rite of War, it very specifically states Codex Chaos Demons. Now, I did talk to someone about this before, and I did say it. In my personal opinion, it's done like that on purpose. So I know that the whole Wrath of Magnus and the Curse of the Wolf and stuff has come out, and we've seen a big buff to demon armies in the way that pink horrors can split up into blue horrors and then brimstone horrors, and then you've got extra psychic powers, and it all becomes a bit much in my personal opinion. I think for me, the Codex Chaos Demons from 6th edition plus the FAQ for 7th, perfect. Fits the Heresy. It's not too overpowered. Now, don't get me wrong, there are obviously some good hard counters, Bloodletters and Tactical Marines being things that don't like each other. However, I wouldn't say that was overpowered, given the fact that they've only got a 5-up save, and you can gun them down with relative ease. So I'm left in a position where I'm thinking, at the moment it's going to be Nurgle for the Demon Prince. He is going to be rolling on Demonology for his powers, trying to get the +1 invuln out, and then the big reason I want to take 2 rewards, 1 exalted, 1 greater, is because getting an exalted unlocks the Hellforge artifacts, of which there are 2 I would possibly pick from, and then depending on what I roll for the greater reward, I would then switch out the exalted. So, for example, for the greater reward, and depending on who I'm up against, it gives me a lot of flexibility. Now, the reason I think this is so crucial, almost, in having that flexibility, yes, it's a 350-point Demon Prince, which is dumb. I mean, that's so expensive, but it is a Demon Prince. It's flying around. It might not be flying, but it'll be jinking with a 2-up. It could be in the air, giving it a 2-up jink after you're hitting on 6s. Casting psychic powers on stuff, but really I want him down on the ground doing the business. So it's likely he'll have a 3-up save with warp forged armor, and then the hope is that if I get a good weapon on the if I get crappy rewards, I'll give myself the what's the weapon? The Blade of Contagion or something. It basically makes all my attacks instant death, but I'm AP 2 strength 5 anyway. So that's strength 5, strength 6, something like that. Which is really good when you think about it. And it's poison 4+, so I'll be re-rolling to wound on tacticals and on characters. So that's a good place to be, in my opinion. And then for the exalted reward, there are 2 artifacts I'm particularly interested in. One of which is a Primarch sort of face-off kind of artifact, which is the Eternal Sword, which gives you +1 strength and D3 +D3 initiative, attacks, and weapon skill. Now that bumps him up to initiative 9, 10, weapon skill 10, and attacks take a big old jump. By D3, and it's the same D3. So don't get me wrong. If you roll a 1, it's you're up to initiative 9, weapon skill 10. Now I'm making that sound like it's nothing at all, but that means Praetors are hitting back on 5-ups. It's a big killer of characters, and because Corphoron is such a pussy, it gives me this opportunity to have something that can face off against stuff, should I want it to. It could also go and hunt things like quad mortars because it's particularly fast. It can summon shielding units if it's feeling vulnerable, and having a unit in the way, plus shrouded. I mean, that's already giving him a 3+ cover save. You know, if he's in a ruined, it's a 2+ cover save because he has shrouded. So I've got options and ways in which I can keep him alive, and that is the most important thing. Keeping him alive and then chucking him into combat. Now, the reason I want to go through Demonology and not the Nurgle spells is because the Nurgle spells are very short range. Now, obviously using the 3 from the book, because like I said, it says Codex Chaos Demons. So using the 3 spells of Nurgle from the book plus the other one, all of them are very short range. And I don't like that. If I'm going to have a psychic power, I kind of want an 18 to 24 range on it. I don't want to be constricted to template weapons and 12-inch range. Personally, I think if you're that close, chances are the psychic power of that kind isn't going to make too much of a difference, because if you're focused on psychic stuff, you don't want to get charged. If you are charging, hopefully you'll kill it with just the charge off anyway, not some kind of like, you know, 2-shot sort of, you know, Strychnine AP1 or whatever. That doesn't make too much of a difference to me. So there are some exciting combinations, and that's my HQ for the allied detachment of demons. Now, on the troops front, I am still, again, umming and ahhing. Now, I want to take 20 blood letters regardless, because in my opinion, they look awesome. They are pretty damn beefy, and in the Horus Heresy, they're going to do a lot of the killing for my army. Having AP3 swords at strength 5 on the charge is good. You know, there's no denying it. It's very good. Now, I know they've obviously got weak points. They go up against Terminators, and they're next to useless. But they have a role in my army, because my army is so infantry heavy, because my army is not particularly potent. They are a unit that I can use to invoke potency. Now, they'll also be targeted, because AP3 is scary, especially at initiative, same as Space Marine. So this scary AP3 situation should put a lot of my opponents on the back foot and under pressure to kill that unit. Don't get me wrong, not difficult to do, but it's something that has to be done. And on the other side, I cannot decide on what next. I am torn between 20 Plague Bearers. A, fits fluffier, and B, that is a really tough unit to remove if they're in cover. So I'm thinking they're a troops choice, they're scoring, stick them on an objective, stick them in cover, they become very difficult to move, they can take out vehicles with their touch of rust. Yes, they're slow. Yes, they don't have that many attacks, they don't offer many buffs to my army, but as a standalone unit, they're pretty solid. Or do I take 20 Pink Horrors of Tzeentch for an extra 3 mastery levels in the first turn? Probably by the end of the first turn down to 1 or 2 extra. But extra mastery levels, some psychic casting from the Tzeentch discipline, which is ranged, distance. And do I try and implement that? Now, it's a lot less fluffy because Nurgle hates Tzeentch, so why would a Demon Prince be leading Pink Horrors? Now, in my opinion, Word Bearers are very undivided. So they could probably use Lorguard to manipulate all these things and have a chit-chat with said Demon Prince and say, look, get over your differences, we've got things to do. So hopefully, you know, that kind of thing can be justified, but I don't know how I want to play it yet. My thoughts being, if I've got more warp charges, I can just summon 10 Plague Bearers onto an objective, no problem at all. Late game, mid game, I can use them as a shielding unit because they've got shrouded, they've got a 5-up invul. So I've got options in the demon department. And I think that's a really good place to be, because it is a bolt onto my army effectively, but at the same time I want it to do a job, I want it to look fluffy. The Word Bearers love themselves some demons, and I think running 2 side by side will look really cool. Now, to put that into perspective, that's 115 infantry models starting on a 6x4 board. If you've ever looked at a squad of 20 tactical marines, you'll understand exactly what I'm on about as to how much space that'll take up. A good proportion is the truthful answer once they're all lined out. I mean, tactical marines, 20-man tactical marines squad spread out, probably width-wise, take up a good 1.5 feet. And to have 3 of those takes me already to most of the board, and then to have 2 other 20-man squads takes me off the edge of the board. So I'll be deploying like in chunks. And the other thing that Demonology allows me to access, like I've said, is there's a psychic power called Cursed Earth. Now, if everyone's rolling on Demonology, you'd think I could get Cursed Earth. And when you combine this with a certain Hellforged artifact, now I spoke about the sword, but what I didn't speak about was the Grimoire of True Names. On a 3+, you add 2 to an invulnerable save. If I give that to my Demon Prince, if I then have Cursed Earth up, we could be looking at Gal Vorbak, with a 2+ invulnerable, which is crazy. And I mean, that would be game-breakingly good in my personal opinion, and I would feel horrendous doing it. But if it comes down to it, my opponent's being an arsehole, or he's got the biggest dick-smashing list of all time, then that is something I would try and pull off, just to be difficult. Now, what I do have in this list is plenty of scoring stuff. Not necessarily in numbers do I have said scoring stuff, but what I do have are big, hard-to-move units of, you know, potentially fearless if they get zealot, if not, rolling leadership, stubborn 10, or not stubborn 10, sorry, leadership 10 because KP is on the table, 3 dice because we are word bearers and picking the 2 lowest. So they stick around, they really stick around, and if I get zealot like I normally roll, that's, you know, even better. Demons are pseudo fearless from shooting. In combat they may suffer if they don't do what they're supposed to, but at the end of the day they can still put wounds on their opponent in most cases, and in the Bloodletter's case I hope not to lose many a combat with them. So I've got big scoring units, 5 20-man scoring units, and then on top of that I've got a couple of denial units, a beefy character, some buffing characters, and then round it all off, summoning. So I think, although there are a lot of weaknesses to my list, no anti-tank, no tank, because I've committed entirely to this and I've not just got like a half-assed attempt at something, I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Deployment's going to be quick. Tempted to make up some movement trays. We'll see. But yeah, so that's the list. I just wanted to talk to you a bit about it because I'm super excited by it. Now, I've got a lot to paint for November, so it's still 2 months away as of recording, just a bit less than. Yeah, it's like 8-9 weeks. So I've got plenty of time to be cracking on with what I've got. I'm working on 20 Tactical Marines, then there's 10 more to do after that. 50-odd demons, 60-odd demons in reality, and a Demon Prince, and a cool librarian. So it's totally doable, especially as I have this newfound pace in painting. So thanks ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. I know it's been a slightly casual look at my list, which isn't particularly, how do you say, tournament winning, but it's a narrative event. The word bearers love zealotry, they love demons, they love infantry hordes running full bore at the enemy, and that is very much what you can expect me to do come this event. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Of course, don't forget to leave your thoughts and feelings in the comments below, and don't forget to check us out here, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, all of which are literally just tabletop banter, one word, with the @ symbol or a / if it's on Facebook. And you can keep up to date with what's going on. You'll see how this tactical squad develop. You'll see also my Iron Hand stuff in its full on Instagram, which I'm using more and more frequently because I'm loving that platform. It's very community based. You get a lot of likes, you get a lot of comments, a lot more fun than Twitter, that's for sure. So this is the one I'm least active on. This is followed, and then on Instagram I try and post something every other day. So join us there if you like that. Of course, don't forget to check any links in the description below. So that is it for this video. Thanks ever so much for watching, and until next time, bye for now.